Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello and welcome to Primetime Local News. My name is Thomas Wildman and we thank you for joining us. We begin today with a Zoom about Big Brothers Big Sisters as they're looking for new volunteers. Our Abby St. John has more.
I'm very happy to be joined here today by Jacqueline Weed with Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Lloydminster. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, we love speaking with you, especially about Big Brothers Big Sisters. Usually we're talking about different fundraisers that you guys are holding, but today we're talking about volunteers. You guys are in need, or you guys are looking for more volunteers. So can we talk about a little bit about what that would look like or what you're looking for?
Sure. We always are in need of volunteers. We always have a waiting list. Some great kids that are waiting for, their special person. So for our overall, we need right now 32 mentors for kids. So that includes our in-school mentor program and our Big Brother Big Sister program. So two separate programs. One's winding up sort of for the summer because the school year's over, but we could get people ready for the fall because we do have kids waiting to be placed in the fall in that program. And then our Big Brother Big Sister program, it runs year round, and it would be really great if over summer holidays we could get some kids matched with their mentors.
Yes, and that kind of leads into my next question on the volunteers that you're looking for is the same as your mentorship program. So can we just expand a little bit about if those are interested in becoming a mentor, what does that look like, or what do they have to do, or stuff like that?
Sure, it's super easy. They don't need any special skills to be a mentor, just able to commit some time every week. So for the in-school mentor program in the fall, it would be an hour a week, and it's usually during the day because they're matched with kids at school. For the Big Brother Big Sister program, it's a couple hours a week. I guess it depends on what they're doing. We match according to interests. So, some activities will take longer than others, but just that weekly commitment, at least to check in with them. So yeah, no special skills, just, that time to give and, maybe share some lived experiences and things like that. So the easiest way for them to get involved is just to contact us at the agency. They can do that on our website. They can do it on our Facebook page. They can give us a call. They can stop in, and then we'll have a discussion with them and get them the application and start the process. And then along the way, we ask some more pointed questions. There is a process we have to go through because Big Brothers Big Sisters of Canada has a quality assurance program that we follow, and so we do have some processes that need to be completed because we are matching them with people's children.
Yes, exactly. And it's just a great way for, kids to get out, especially during the summer as well. There's a ton of different summer activities at Bud Miller Park that they could go to and have a great time. Now kind of going off of now, we are into the summer as a start. So if somebody would like to mentor during the summer and then start into the fall, will that kind of readjust with their school schedule?
Yeah, so it just depends, right? If they're part of the Big Brother Big Sister program, they kind of just work with the parent and the child weekly to schedule when they're getting together. And then the in-school mentor program, we wouldn't match them until the fall, but we would get the process done now so that they were ready to go, that first part of September when school starts again.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully this helps get the word out about the volunteers, and hopefully that helps with the numbers, especially with those kids on waiting lists. And hopefully you guys can get those kids off those so that they can be matched with the perfect person to mentor them. So thank you so much for joining me again, and I wish you the best of luck with the mentorship.
Thanks so much.
And it's time now for this week's edition of Retrospect. Here is Ravi Jayasheelan.
This week in Retrospect, we take it back to 1990, where hotel owners consider adding hard liquor to their list of services.
Case of blue? Certainly. Right now in towns like Kitscoty, you can only buy beer at the local hotel. But that may change. The Alberta government feels that residents of Kitscoty and towns like it without a liquor store should be able to buy hard booze without having to travel out of town. If hotel owner Tony Bakita wants to, he can, as of today, apply to sell hard liquor. Bakita says there's not a lot of money in off sales, but if this is something the community wants, he will consider it.
If it's feasible and let's be honest, if it's profitable, certainly.
Bukita says this is another service Kitscoty residents deserve, like their neighbors in Lloydminster. He doesn't feel selling hard booze over the counter is going to contribute to alcoholism in his town.
A confirmed alcoholic has his sources of supply. A confirmed alcoholic never goes short. In other words, the same as a drug addict. He knows where the pushers are and where to get his supply of drugs, whereas anyone that's not an addict has no idea where he'd make the contact.
While Tony Bakita is taking a wait-and-see attitude, most hotel owners are happy with the new liquor rules, especially in small towns like this one. And for obvious reasons, they stand to make a buck. But people who work with alcoholics worry easier access will mean increased problems. Bill Hewitt sees those problems every day. He works at Lloydminster's Slim Thorpe Center treating alcoholics and drug abusers. He says selling hard booze at hotels won't necessarily result in more people being treated here, but he doesn't like the new rules all the same.
Say that it will increase, I know, misuse and abuse.
Hewitt sees a potential problem with young people. He's convinced some hotel owners will sell to underage drinkers.
Absolutely, I think statistics prove that, and we can prove that. I think in the province of Quebec there's enough information on there, enough statistics to prove that that is possible.
Hewitt says neither his center nor any center like it he knows of was consulted before the new government legislation came down. While hotel owners in towns with no government liquor store can apply to sell the hard stuff as of today, the rules will cover the entire province in 1991. Then all hoteliers will be able to sell the hard stuff. Bob Keating, Broadcast Center News.
And next, we have a wrap on the 1996 Wainwright Stampede.
We start in Saddlebrook, where Consilla's Gordon McKee won the day money with a ride of 77. Not good enough to overtake former Lloydminster Cowboy Mel Coleman for top spot, as the Arizona Cowboy won with a 79. Coleman and McKee both rode DeWalt Hurricane to impressive scores.
Good horse. When you get a horse like that, you should win something. Because you know he's going to do his job. You just got to make sure you try and do yours. And had a little trouble get going, but once we got rolling, it went pretty good.
How was the weekend for yourself?
Decent. I was winning second at High River, so hopefully I'll hang in there for a little bit too.
To bareback, former CCA champions Strathmore's Jason DeGurcio and Chester's Bandit makes the 8 and picks up a score of 70. Finishes just out of the money. Raja Lacasse won with an 86.
Well, I was satisfied when I got off. That's a really strong horse. I know I could have done a lot better on him, but I was just trying to stay aggressive, and boy, he was really strong, and I just wish I'd have handled him a little better to get a check here.
A disappointing day for Midwest Cowboy in steer wrestling when former world champion Ms. Blaine Peterson just can't put it down. Milton Lewis won with a time of 4.4. To the speed of the barrels, Wainwright's John Hager here turns all three in a time of 16.63, but it was Monica Wilson ending up on top with a time of 16.30. Nonetheless, not a bad run for Hager.
We'd all sure like to be faster unless you're winning number one. It seems there is improvement. I'm happy with my run. I'm happy to get a check. That's little checks add up too.
Performing here in front of your home fans and everything, does that mean anything special to you?
Oh, yes, it does. There's some added pressure to that, you know, that of course everybody's looking for you to do good, and hopefully you can please them.
The bull riding, where it was the Bulls 12, the Cowboys 3. Among those 3 to hold on for the 8 was Billy Jones here in Razzmatazz. He will make the 8 and picks up a score of 82. Good for the day money, but Brad Link ends up on top with a score of 89.
Hey, Billy, we're just talking about 12-3 for the Bulls, and you're sitting here and you're watching these guys get bucked off. What's going through your mind?
Oh, about the same as always. Just you got to go. Can't really worry about what they're doing. Just try hard and try and do your best. And sometimes it works and sometimes it don't.
And that's all for this week in Retrospect.
Retrospect is brought to you by Webb's Machinery. Find New Holland products at Webb's Machinery, your dealer in Vermilion, Vegreville, Lamont, Wainwright, St. Paul, and Consort.
And we'll have more Primetime local news after the break.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
Welcome back. With the delay in the warm weather, this Canada Day long weekend is expected to be an especially busy one out on the roads. And we spoke to Lloydminster RCMP about how they'll be keeping people safe.
I'm here today talking to Constable Melanie Flynn with the RCMP. Thanks for joining me, Melanie.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we're talking about the long weekend that's coming up and just some safety tips when you're out on the highways. It seems like there's been, a fair amount of highway collisions and rollovers and things recently. So I'm just wondering, what can people do to stay safe, especially on the big double lane highway?
Yeah, we'll go over some of the tips here. But I just wanted to, reinforce that it is the long weekend this weekend, and it's the first probably nice long weekend we've had in a bit. So the Lloydminster RCMP will be out focusing on tactics to reduce roadway collisions and injuries, including focusing enforcement around those behaviors that present serious risks to drivers, including drug and alcohol impaired driving, fatigue, distracted driving, aggressive driving, and driving without a seatbelt. So some of those tips to avoid those bad driving behaviors. If you are consuming any drugs or alcohol this weekend, make sure you're arranging for transportation with a sober friend or family member, even a taxi or a ride sharing service of some sort. If you find yourself getting tired, make sure you get enough sleep, number one. And then if you are finding yourself tired, pull over, take a rest. Sometimes we do see impairment through fatigue, right? So if you're traveling down to the south, make sure all the way down Calgary or something, make sure you pull over and take those much needed rests. Also, if you encounter someone who is driving aggressively and you're finding yourself agitated with the situation, pulling over and then contacting the local police force, whether it be Edmonton, Calgary, or RCMP. And then always buckle up, even if you're on a short trip, like a short trip on the highway, make sure you have your seatbelts on.
With the nicer weather as well, I'm sure there's probably on certain stretches, a certain amount of hitchhikers and things like that, that you should probably watch out for as well.
Yeah, I think in the long weekend we do see kind of an uptake of people walking or even people getting out their bikes, especially in like the urban centers. So just be vigilant of people on the roadways, whether they be pedestrians or cyclists, and drive with just driving defensively and driving with vigilance, right, is really important.
Yeah, I think there was sadly a fatal accident involving someone on a scooter in Saskatoon over the weekend, and it was 3 a.m. And I imagine that a lot of people would think, oh, there's probably nobody on the road right now. They might not have even thought, that this person on a scooter would be there, right? So I guess it is just a matter of being aware of what's out there.
Yeah, like I know if you do find yourself in an urban city like in Calgary or Edmonton, the scooters are often the mode of transportation around those cities nowadays, those electric scooters. So yeah, just be aware that they might be out on the roadways, like on the city roadways, especially during early morning, late evening, right? So
Now, as far as people getting out there, as far as their vehicles and such, is there anything from the police perspective that people should make sure, their vehicles are equipped with?
Yeah, it's always good to have an emergency preparedness kit in the trunk of your vehicle. So, we always preach this at winter time because sometimes we get stuck in the snow. But I think with cars, with the heat too, sometimes we see vehicles overheating, right? And you're stuck in your somewhere on the highway potentially. So make sure you have that emergency preparedness kit on hand. Should include like water and your booster cables, your first aid kit. Trying to keep some extra food on hand in the car is important in case you do find yourself stranded on the side of the highway for a bit waiting for a tow or something like that. So it's good to have that in your vehicle, and even like changes of clothes and stuff. Sometimes people don't think of that, but if you get stranded in 4 hours away from home, you have to spend the night in a different city, right? It's good to have that stuff on hand too.
Actually, a question that has come to my mind in recent trips where there are vehicles with their hazards on and they're pulled over to the side of the road. As a woman driving alone, I don't feel comfortable always stopping for those, but I guess what's the rule of thumb with that?
Yeah, I think we do see a lot of motorists pull over and stick their hazard ons if they're taking a phone call or something like that too, right? But yeah, I would, I know good citizens often think, oh, I should stop and check on this person, right? But nowadays everyone has a cell phone, right? If you do see a vehicle that looks suspicious or you have concerns about, just make sure you call the local police force and they can go do a well-being check on the vehicle if it's still there. If you do want to report like dangerous driving or suspicious vehicles, contacting the local RCMP detachment or the local EPS or Calgary police services is important. It's important to know your location. So when you're driving on the highway and you say you don't have your Google Maps on, just be vigilant of what township or range roads you're on. Be able to report to us your location, as well as providing vehicle descriptions. So the best vehicle description you can provide. A license plate is always good and helpful. Then the license plate can give us that information on who might be in the vehicle, right? And then the direction of travel. So if it is a erratic driver on the highway, are they going eastbound or westbound or northbound, southbound? It's good for us to know that information. And then sometimes they'll ask of a time delay, like how long ago did you see this, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Some very good tips, Constable Flynn. Anything that I didn't ask that you might like to mention?
Well, we just hope that everyone has safe travels this long weekend and everyone has a happy Canada Day.
All right. Thanks. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks, Leanne.
Princess Anne's upcoming visit to Newfoundland and Labrador for the province's Memorial Day has now been cancelled. The princess remains in hospital following an injury, and plans are being examined in close consultation with the Canadian government as to how the princess's proposed engagements may be adapted. The 73-year-old princess suffered minor injuries and a concussion on Sunday and is in hospital as a precaution. She was walking on the grounds of her estate when she was injured, potentially from an impact with a horse. The princess has been described as the workhorse of the royal family with consistently full schedules. And that's all for news. Sports is next, but first, here's a look at your closing market.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
Welcome back. Pro wrestling is returning to the border city with a real Canadian wrestling show at Cheers Live, and I learned more from one of the wrestlers that will be at the event. Today I am talking to the legendary Steve Wild. He is going to be one of the pro wrestlers here for the Let's Get Nasty show, which will be taking place this Thursday. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Steve.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
And so, Steve, how long have you been a pro wrestler?
It goes back a few years for sure. I first broke into the business in the late 80s. So roughly right now, yesterday, June 23rd, I celebrated my 35th year in the wrestling business. So yeah, it's been a while.
And how long have you been working with Real Canadian Wrestling?
Yeah, so independent wrestling is pretty big in and around Canada and the US, and I've been involved with RCW for a number of years, basically on and off for the past 20 plus years, in and around the Edmonton and Alberta, Saskatchewan, that sort of area with RCW. But wrestled all over the place for a number of different independent promotions.
And Steve, for those who have never seen you before, what exactly are you going to bring to this excellent wrestling showcase?
Well, I think we need to back up a little bit because originally there was wrestling at that same venue a number of years ago. And I was actually one of the founding members of that promotion that brought live pro wrestling to that bar 20 plus years ago. So there'll be some older folks that remember the old Steve Wild of those days, and hope to see those ones there as well. But the new ones that come and see or have seen wrestling in and around Lloyd in the past couple of years, they've seen a different type of independent pro wrestling. What I bring and what we have incorporated into the RCW show is the old school type wrestling. So the wrestling of the 80s and the 90s, the hard hitting, the big chops, the big clotheslines, sure, there's going to be high flying and all sorts of crazy stuff going on, but they're also going to see what the true old school wrestling is all about that Thursday night when we come to the Cheers bar.
And then what about some of the other exciting wrestlers that will be coming to the Let's Get Nasty show?
Some really cool talent that's coming in for that show. Like I said, folks have seen wrestling in Lloyd. We're bringing a completely different type of show. Yes, it's an all ages show this time, but hard hitting and really action packed show. It's a great ticket for the whole family, and the some of the talent that we are bringing, you will recognize them off of some local TV shows. We've got a couple guys that have been recently on AEW in Edmonton and Vancouver. We've got some women coming in. We've got some local talent that you guys have seen before. So it's going to be a great night. And from what I've heard, it's tickets are going strong and the venue's filling up pretty quick. So we're only a few days away. So if you have a chance to get an advance ticket at Battery World or at the Cheers nightclub, that's definitely what I'd go do, because you don't want to miss this one.
Thank you so much for your time today, Steve, and I know that everybody who will attend the Let's Get Nasty show will have an excellent time.
All right, I look forward to seeing all the old and new fans for RCW at the bar there that night, and we're going to have a great time.
Now we'll take a quick look at your 3-day forecast. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be getting a touch of morning rain tomorrow, 60% chance of that coming down. Though it's going to continue to be a nice day out there, 20 degrees with a low of 9. Wednesday, it's going to be a little bit cloudy throughout the most of the day, but it will be a high of 22. But then Thursday will cool down a little bit there, be a bit windy, and a 94% chance of rain on Thursday. And thank you for watching Primetime Local News. My name is Thomas Wildman, and have a wonderful rest of your day, and stay safe out there.